Several new developments in South Suburban Dalton today. First, the state comptroller has suspended some payments to the village because it has failed to follow the law by providing financial reports.
You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances while the township
Here's a story that might make you question things. Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, is in the news again, and not for her role in public office. One might assume that someone earning a six-figure salary, reportedly around $300,000 annually, would be more than capable of managing something as simple as paying rent. But here's where it takes an unexpected twist. Recent reports reveal that Henyard is now facing eviction for not paying her rent, and she's several months behind. How could this happen to someone in her position? With that kind of income, this shouldn't be an issue at all. But as it turns out, there's more to this situation, and things are getting complicated.
Fortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. But like I said, you have just some.
Let's break it down. According to reports, Henyard is 3 months behind on her rent. And we're not talking about an extravagant amount. The rent is reportedly just around $1,100 per month. Yes, you read that right. A person earning what most people only dream of in a year can't seem to manage such a modest payment. Naturally, people are left wondering how this is even possible. What's more curious is that Henyard isn't the only name on the lease. Kamal Woods, her associate, is also listed on the property. So what's really going on here? Is there some subletting involved, or is there more to this than meets the eye? And if that wasn't enough to raise eyebrows, the situation becomes even more complicated. The eviction notice was officially filed on September 18th, giving Henyard and Woods only 5 days to vacate. The amount owed? About $3,350 in overdue rent. Henyard's attorney quickly responded, claiming the whole situation was based on false claims. But this only creates more questions, right? What exactly does false claims mean in this context? Does it imply that Henyard never signed the lease? Or is she arguing that she did pay the rent, and this is all a big mix-up? You can see how this just adds to the confusion. So where's the real problem here?
And that is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered Mayor Tiffany.
For some, this eviction drama is just another chapter in Tiffany Henyard's ongoing list of controversies. This isn't the first time her name has been in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. In fact, many view this as just the latest example of her questionable financial practices. Let's not forget that Henyard has previously been accused of using taxpayer money for personal pleasures. We're talking extravagant trips to places like Las Vegas, renting high-end vehicles, and even hosting lavish street parties. These aren't small expenses. Reports suggest these costs run into the tens of thousands, if not more. Just last month, she hosted a large street party in her town, further reinforcing her reputation for being careless with public funds.
I handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting, I do not handle it.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
Could this eviction be part of a larger issue with how Henyard handles money? It certainly seems that way. You don't just forget to pay rent for 3 months, especially when you're responsible for managing public funds. If she's falling behind on something as basic as rent, what else might be going on behind the scenes? Is this an indication that Henyard's finances are spiraling out of control, or could there be a more strategic reason for the missed payments? Some people speculate it might be intentional. Could Henyard be setting up a scenario where she can say, if I were really misappropriating all this money, as some claim, why would I be struggling to pay my rent? It's a bit of a stretch, but when someone has a history like hers, anything seems plausible.
Not guilty of all 9 counts. I believe he's cooperating. And if you cooperate, you have to admit your guilt.
Speaking of records, Henyard's legal history is a whole different matter. Public court documents show she's no stranger to legal issues. In fact, there are numerous lawsuits either still pending or recently resolved against her. And they aren't all related to her role as mayor. Some of these lawsuits go back as far as 2012, involving matters like bank loans and personal debts. This paints a picture of someone who has been dealing with financial and legal struggles for quite some time. The latest addition to her legal troubles is the ongoing eviction case. The government often investigates those close to her, and it appears that's what's happening here. What makes this situation even more puzzling are the rumors suggesting Henyard might not even live at the property she's being evicted from. Some insiders have speculated that the house in question could be what's referred to as a trap house. And no, not in the musical sense. There are whispers that the property might be linked to illegal activities, especially since Henyard and Woods have reportedly refused to let the property owner conduct inspections. There's likely a clause in the lease that grants the owner the right to inspect, yet Henyard and Woods have blocked it. So why the secrecy? It only adds to the growing suspicions surrounding the entire situation.
Hired her chief of police late last year without any approval from the village board. So now Robert Collins has filed a lawsuit against them.
It's not just about overdue rent payments. Henyard's financial mismanagement seems to be affecting much more than her personal life. There are accusations that public funds, including grants intended for youth projects, have been mishandled during her time in office. A Freedom of Information Act request reportedly uncovered concerning accounting practices within a grant project managed by Kamal Woods. Payments were made to various individuals and organizations, many of which raised serious questions. For instance, Anthony Butler allegedly received over $66,000 for unclear purposes. This is just one example among several, and these irregularities are causing significant worry. They suggest that Henyard's financial issues are far more extensive than just unpaid rent.
Addressing things as your supervisor. There will be no comments, there will be anything. It'll just be me addressing you guys, telling you what's going on.
Let's take a look at Henyard's response to all of this. Through her attorney, she has claimed that the entire situation is a smear campaign launched by her adversaries. She argues that she is being targeted by a corrupt board of trustees intent on undermining her. She's even gone so far as to accuse them of trying to overturn the will of the people. However, when you're facing an investigation into financial mismanagement and a growing list of accusations, it's difficult to maintain the image of a victim. Public opinion is certainly not in her favor, and that's putting it mildly. The residents of Dalton are becoming more vocal in their dissatisfaction with Henyard. Some have even started calling her America's worst mayor. With everything that's been exposed, it's easy to see why.
Shameful. Y'all are a disgrace.
We're watching the fall of this administration.
It's not just the rent or grant issues that are sparking conversation. Henyard is also facing a federal investigation into her financial dealings, adding another layer of scandal. The FBI is reportedly looking into her use of taxpayer money for personal benefit, including the cost of her security detail, which reportedly drained the town's budget with hundreds of thousands of dollars in police overtime. Some of this security spending allegedly took place while Henyard was out of town, even for personal matters, raising more questions about her priorities and how she's managing public funds. When you're already under fire for questionable spending, flying first class on the taxpayers' dollars certainly doesn't help your case.
You?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
It's no surprise that the residents of Dalton are demanding her resignation. However, as with many scandals, Henyard is refusing to step down without a fight. She's maintained that she's being unfairly targeted because she's a woman in a position of power. Henyard argues that it's part of a boys' club that doesn't want to see a woman succeed. Whether or not there's any truth to that claim is debatable, but the facts remain clear. She's under investigation, facing eviction, and her financial practices are, at best, highly questionable. What makes this situation even more complicated is the public's reaction. If you look through comments on social media or YouTube videos covering the story, there's a lot of frustration and disbelief. One commenter said, "She doesn't pay bills, period, unless taxpayers foot the bill." And it's hard to argue with that, especially given the many reports of her using public funds for personal expenses. Another commenter suggested, maybe she's doing this to make it seem like she hasn't been stealing all this money. I can just hear her now. While y'all out here accusing me of stealing money, why don't I have enough to pay my rent? It's a stretch, but this commenter believes Henyard's behavior reflects her complete lack of accountability. That's a bold statement, but it highlights just how much public trust in Henyard has eroded. At this point, people are willing to believe almost anything about her, and that's never a good sign for any politician. So what happens next? That's the big question. With her eviction court date set for October 22nd, all eyes are on Henyard to see how this situation plays out. Will she find a way to get out of this mess, or will this be the end of her political career? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. This story is far from over. Each new development adds another layer to the already complex web of allegations and controversies surrounding her. And it doesn't stop with the eviction or misuse of public funds. There are ongoing rumors about her involvement in even more serious issues. Allegations of corruption continue to surface, and with the FBI now involved, it's hard to imagine this won't escalate into something larger. Some are already predicting more lawsuits and investigations, especially if further details about the mismanagement of public grants come to light. If those funds were indeed misused, Henyard could face legal consequences far beyond eviction. But the question remains, how did we get here? How did someone elected to lead her town end up caught in so many scandals? Is it just a matter of poor judgment, or is there something more sinister at play? At the end of the day, it's difficult to say, but one thing is clear: the residents of Dalton deserve answers. They deserve to know where their money is going and why their mayor can't seem to manage her finances. And that leads to the burning question on everyone's mind. Will Tiffany Henyard be able to recover from this, or is this the beginning of the end for her political career? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on this ongoing story.